matter. I now yield to the ranking member for 5 minutes.
Thank you. And Chairman, what's interesting to me is that this hearing is about transparency. And my staff has told me that there are multiple documents that you have allowed my staff to look at in camera, meaning they can go look at them, but they cannot have them, documents that you've been given related to an FTC inquiry. My ask is just that you turn those over to us. It sounds like we are asking you to do what you think these witnesses are not doing. So again, just in the spirit of transparency, we would like those documents. Mr. Dunham.
I'll take it under advisement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Dunham, following the subpoena you received from the Judiciary Committee Republicans, you offered to meet and confer with them on multiple occasions. Is that right?
We met with the committee in early January on the initial forming of the committee in the new Congress, and then we've had several engagements or outreach since the subpoena.
And what would happen if you violated a subpoena and just didn't show up?
I'm not sure what the consequences would be for me, but we're actively engaged with the committee and intend to do so going forward as well.
Great. Well, thank you for doing what Jim Jordan wasn't willing to do and show up and be responsive. Your good faith effort did not end there, though. In fact, you also offered to work with them to prioritize their document requests. Is that right?
When we received Chairman Jordan's letter on January 17th, we also had a meeting previously scheduled that afternoon with committee staff, more as a meet and greet to kind of talk about the 118th Congress and discuss the topics of interest to the committee to determine what was the primary focus of their interest.
And in addition to that meeting, you allowed them to come in person and review non-public documents. Is that correct?
In response to the subpoena, we provided in-camera review of Guardian documents related to the EDU official tags, which was a substantive production at the core of the subpoena's request.
And these guys viewed those documents?
The documents were reviewed by both majority and minority staff.
And after viewing the documents, and do those documents, by the way, include what we call law enforcement sensitive information?
The documents themselves are law enforcement sensitive. They're law enforcement files. They're tips that we receive from the public and the actions associated with those tips, so yes.
What's the difference between something you call law enforcement sensitive and something that you could put on the front page of the Washington Post?
Something that's purely unclassified versus something that has a law enforcement caveat that is necessary to protect potential investigative equities, witness information, subject information, anything related to sources, methods, techniques, that type of thing.
And after Jim Jordan's team viewed the documents, are you aware of a report that Jim Jordan drafted related to their inquiry?
I'm aware.
And in that report, was it a public report?
I believe it was a public report.
And in that report, did you see any law enforcement sensitive information?
I'm not aware of what information was in the report. I haven't studied it closely enough to determine whether there's law enforcement sensitive information there, but that's something I can certainly get back to you on.
Okay, I'll go back to you with some pieces that we saw that were included in there that would qualify as an unlawful disclosure. Ms. Bumpus, thank you again for also doing something that Jim Jordan would not do and responding to a subpoena. Is it true that you've worked for multiple prior chairs that were Republican and Democratic and even worked for John McCain when you worked on the Hill?
Sorry, yes, Congressman. I did work for John McCain on the Hill prior to coming to the FTC in 2006, and I've worked for 8 chairmen as Director of Congressional Relations for Democrats and for Republicans.
And while you were responsive to the inquiries of the chairman, is it true that you cannot provide information about ongoing or potential investigations?
That is correct. Under the rules of the commission, we cannot disclose non-public information without a vote of the commission.
So would you be committing a crime if you did what Jim Jordan is asking you to do?
I cannot speak today about non-public information or about ongoing investigations.
Thank you. Yield back.